I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Izzy, and this week we are reviewing Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Yay!
Oh my God, this is my church.
We're going to church today.
We're going to the Holy Spirit, y'all.
Take me to church.
Like a burnt
You can drop it to pound.
Okay, so the most misunderstood parts about me over the years, the number one is my spirituality.
Tell me more. How has it been misunderstood?
So most people think because I'm against organized religion that I am against God. And so many times, like I've had people just don't understand it. They don't understand it about me, and I'm not good at explaining it. For instance, like one time we were driving down the road and there was a homeless guy on the side of the road, and I stopped and I gave him some money, and I remember
a Bible.
Yeah, it's always like, thanks, people. Like what I need is like a Bible when I can't feed myself and house myself. But I pulled off. And I gave the guy some money, and my niece, who was like 8 years old at the time, Molly, she goes, "Oh, Aunt Lizzie, it's almost like you're Christian."
Did you then back up and run over the homeless guy just to prove a point?
I ripped my fin out of his fucking cold hands, and I was like, no, I cannot be perceived that way. No. So like, I think that people like, if you ever, like all of you out there that are like seriously like obsessed with me, like I know there's so many of you out there.
All three of you?
All three. It might be two. Like
your mom,
my mom,
and like
one other.
And guy you went to like junior high school with.
They're all dead.
Like this all like, I think about this a lot. I'm like, I wonder, because I've been obsessed with people and they don't know. So I wonder who's obsessed with me and I have no idea. If you're obsessed with me, please come forward.
Cricket.
Is this thing on? This thing on?
They must not have heard you. So this book, if you wonder, if all of you out there, if you wonder exactly how I feel about the higher power, this book is it. When I remove every single bit of my ego and my lostness, and I really come back to who I truly am, this book says it.
Yeah.
Like if I, in my best self, this is how I would be. Obviously, 98% of the time I don't spend in that honey hole.
The G spot of spirituality. I'm not in the spiritual G spot.
Yeah.
I'm like around the rim. I'm doing it a rim job.
Yeah. I have a real hard time finding that G spot of spirituality. Like
it's like God's like, that's my asshole. What are you doing?
Well, okay. What are we doing here? Like, no. That doesn't seem like a mistake. That really doesn't.
Lizzie, what are you doing down there?
Jesus. She doesn't. Jesus, she doesn't know what she's doing.
She's like, that's obvious. I'm going to go drink some wine.
Yeah. Send a bottle of wine down there. Maybe she'll like it. Oh, God. So, yes. Oh, God. So I think that mostly I've recently been told that somebody's thought that the devil was working through me. And I can't explain it any better than that's what I don't like about Christians.
Devil works through everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's there for.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
I mean, again, I think the devil's misunderstood. Whatever.
I hate, my favorite quote of all time, and it's not from this book, it's just my favorite quote of all time, and I don't even know who said it. It's, don't judge people because they sin differently than you.
I love
And
that.
people who say the devil's working through you, the devil's working through you too, bitch.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're
Yeah.
just sinning differently than I am. So
Well, and
fuck
it's
off.
yeah, God, it's the hypocrisy of religion that I can't stand. It, it's just would it remember virtuous signaling? It's like
Yeah.
like we're all I truly believe we're all one. Like we're all connected. And anything bad you see in me reflects on you. And this book says so. So it makes it right. It makes it true.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is this book about? Return to Love. It's a reflections on the principles of A Course in Miracles. So basically, Marianne read this book, A Course in Miracles, which is a fantastic book, and we should do it someday. And it changed her life. So she kind of takes the principles from that book and reveals like what she thinks, spirituality and basically God and love is all about.
She
So it's
long
a really
shorted
cool
it,
film. Yeah.
which I
She made the
freaking
long
love.
story short. Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
First we gotta like before we dive into this book, let's like
Yeah.
okay, we get it. We're all spiritual beings. But let's
Yeah.
talk about the spiritual beings of Johnny Depp and Amber. I can't remember her name right now. It's Heath? No, Heard.
Heard.
Heard. Amber Heard.
Amber Heard.
I had never heard of Amber Heard before this
Ironic,
trial.
isn't it? Isn't it ironic? I remember once I was in a car accident and the girl who hit me, her name was Stephanie C. And I got out of my car and said, we like exchanged information and I said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Stephanie C." And I said, "Well, you didn't see me," because she smashed right into me and she did not think that was funny. So
Well, she might have been in shock. Like most people, like if they don't get your humor, obviously something's wrong with them.
yeah, had nothing to do with the fact that she crashed into me. Just
Her
a few
life
seconds
just
earlier.
flashed before her eyes. She saw
And I'm like,
that.
why are you not laughing at my joke?
You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You just totaled my car. That's one thing. That's fine. But you didn't get like that cool joke.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
She's obviously got a concussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get a medic?
Medic.
Okay. Okay, so Amber Heard and Johnny, I wanted to say Johnny Be Good.
Johnny be
Be
bad. Johnny be bad.
Johnny Depp.
Have you been following it?
I did. I'm always so wary of media. Like I'm completely wary of media. So now it seems like the narrative is shifting a bit because now Amber Heard is presenting her evidence. She's being heard about her abuse, but unfortunately the public is on, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever it is what it is on Johnny's side. So they're saying she's a huge liar. Like he didn't do whatever digitally penetrated or looking for cocaine, which
I kind of like was like, is that hot or is that not hot?
sounded like some weird role play.
Is that
You be
weird?
the cop and I'll be the
Yeah.
crackhead hooker with the cocaine up my butthole.
And I'll be the mule. This sounds fun. Yeah.
Oh, the games we play when we're on crack.
Oh, this sounds so hot. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about the whole thing?
Well, first of all, I have to like, I feel like I'm swayed because I would even go on a first date with Edward Scissorhands. So like, I really like Johnny Depp's work.
Even with the whole asshole fingering thing.
You know what? That might be
Scissor
weird.
hands.
Yeah, I can get into anything. But like, so I really like him as an actor, and I'm trying not to let that penetrate into my. I'm trying not to let that come into my decision. I know. I just made the like the pap smear
As if you've done it a million times.
I have. So, you know, I like Johnny more than Amber just because I just met Amber. I didn't ever know her. I didn't
Yeah.
she was never a part of my life before this.
I don't know her as a person, but I have seen obviously now there's like a lot of hate against her, so I'm like I've seen a couple clips where she's a total bitch. And so already like I don't like her just from those clips. She was like rude to an interviewer, rude to like wait staff or something. So I was
Oh,
like, ooh,
hell
rude to
no.
wait staff.
You know what? She deserved it.
Ooh, no. But yeah. So go on, go on.
So I really am, and I also like buyer beware. I could like, I don't, and you know, I don't see, I like go against, I love red flags, but even I would be like, Johnny Depp, that's hardcore crazy, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, that from the get go, like she kind of had to have known. And then like, I hate to victim shame, but she didn't leave ever.
Yeah.
He was
I
trying to leave
um
her.
I here's the deal. I used to be a crackhead. I know the insanity that is just around drugs.
Yeah.
The insanity. So there's no way he's not normal, she's not normal.
Well,
It's
yeah.
an insane fuckery clusterfuck of fuckery. It's just like crack insanity. And that's what it is. And
Yeah.
that's why I don't think it's as black and white as the media. Johnny's this abused, everyone has to plays their part. And I'm sorry, if you're doing drugs, that's the type of people you're going to be attracting. That's the type of atmosphere. That's the type of thing you're going to find yourself in.
So
So,
I might have missed it, but were they both doing crack?
oh, I don't
Maybe.
know if he
I
was
don't
doing
know.
crack, but he was doing different types of drugs. He was
Oh
doing
yeah.
coke. He was
Yeah.
drinking. It's all a mess.
Yeah.
And I really hope that Johnny looks at his part in the whole deal
Johnny, look at your part.
because
It's a onesie too.
I want you to get sober because I really like you as well. But
Yeah.
if
Like
he doesn't own his part and look at like his part in this whole deal, because it's not black and white, it's not good or bad.
right.
And we really need to do a book on this dichotomous, good, bad, black, white, evil,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
There's none of that. It's he also played a part in this whole thing.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like I mean
Yeah.
that goes without saying.
Yeah.
And I think also Disney canceled this his Pirates of the Caribbean thing. That's what this whole thing like is about because he lost some like a lot of deals because of all her shit or his own shit, whatever. But I'm so fucking tired of this cancel culture that we've
Hmm.
got. Like everybody's canceled if they okay, if you're in who hasn't been in an abusive relationship? Like who hasn't been toxic? There are
Yeah.
people like if you haven't like been toxic, you're probably toxic now.
Yeah. If you don't think you've ever experienced toxicity, you're probably toxic.
Yeah. So it's like now it like because he doesn't do what you want him to do outside, then he can't work on camera for Disney. It's like stop like it just bothers me. I'm not saying like if somebody's a, sexual fucking predator that you should hire them. But
Yeah.
like he hasn't been proven guilty of any of this and he's fired.
Yeah.
It's weird. Bothers me.
Yeah. It's all weird. I mean, the whole cancel culture. I teach English from time to time, and I did a lesson for my Polish students on cancel culture, and they were like, "What?" Like Pepe Le Pew has been canceled. The green M&M because she was too sexy, and then the women came back and saying, "You can't slut shame the green M&M. Why are you canceling her?" So there's a whole thing, and like Polish people are looking at America like, "Is this real?" Like canceling the green M&M. Like what?
Yeah, I don't think it's just America though. I really don't. Like I mean I think it is America has Hollywood. We're making all the
Yeah.
shit. So but like I mean, why I didn't even hear about that green M&M. It's stressing me out now. It's like,
She was too sexy because she had like go-go boots.
oh,
So they canceled her.
did you
And
ever?
they remade her into like a fun girl with like Converse that's still cute. But then women came back and said, "This is slut shaming. If she wants to wear her green go-go boots, fucking let her. Don't slut shame the green M&M." So now there's a whole debate.
Fucking A. It's like, it's ridiculous. I don't get it. I remember one time somebody at a bar said, one of my acquaintances said, "Oh, don't talk to that girl. She's a slut." And I was like,
About you?
"No, not about me. About this
Oh.
other girl. I don't get called slut. I get called cunt.
Oh, okay.
That's my."
Do you
But
get cunt shamed?
I mean, I think we're all cunt shamed. We're not allowed to be a bitch or sharp or edgy or anything like that. It's cunt
Yeah.
shaming.
Yeah.
But she said, "Don't talk to that girl. She's a slut." And I said, "I love sluts. What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
calm down, everybody." I don't get it. I think women are just jealous of other women that like are free with their sexuality. Or, I mean, it's not out of worry. You're not like, "Oh, I hope she doesn't get a sexually transmitted disease."
Right. It's not about concern for another human being.
Yeah.
Well, as
What?
Marianne Williamson says, the root of all hate is fear. So there's some kind of fear there. If you're
Yep.
slut shaming someone.
Yeah, exactly. You're scared of something. It's probably like a Jolene situation. Jolene, Jolene,
Jolene, Jolene.
Jolene, Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can. God, that was good. Damn, I'm
That's
good.
good. Damn, you're good.
So, to get into A Return to Love, which is an amazing book. I've read it 12 or 13 times probably.
That's really cool.
It's the new Bible if you're cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like it's a self-help book in the sense that it helps you let go of resentment, fear, anger, and sort of embrace pure love, so that's cool.
Basically, in the book, it goes through what's the principles are hell, God, you, surrender, and miracles,
Yeah, so that's part one, and then part two is the practice.
which is
So,
relationships, work, body, and heaven.
yeah.
So the principle of the book is that if it's not love, it's not real. Which, like, I've always said, God is love. I just don't understand how people can't see that. I mean, it's
I mean, I think, you've gotten the privilege and the grace somehow to see it. Some people just can't, and that's sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
I see it. It's bad.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really, really bad because, I mean, I feel sorry for people who think that God is just this guy up in the sky that looks somewhat like, your first degenerate boyfriend with the long hair and like your parents wouldn't even fucking allow him to come over to the house.
Did you have one like that?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Oh man, I loved it. It was so good. I was like, that like maybe brought me a little closer to Jesus, but not all the way. Let me just tell you. You know, I think that I always say like when we die, we'll all know the truth. But like, okay, so it goes in the let's start like it goes in these sections, and the first part is hell. And I've always believed that hell is right here on earth. I see people in hell every single day. When And I've been in my own hell. Like I remember after I had Scarlett, I was so scared that she was going to die. I was in hell.
Yeah.
I like was it was so terrifying and gut-wrenching, and I you feel when you're super scared, or or and fear is anger too, but you feel like you're on fire.
Yeah, she said, hell is fear, hell is self-loathing, hell is this,
Yeah.
this terror. Yeah.
It says the journey into darkness has been long and cruel, and you have gone deep into it. Is the quote. And I love that.
That's cool.
You've been there, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think what was interesting to me about this book is how it's almost exactly like recovery literature that I've read. Like
Yeah.
it's everything in any 12-step program that's in this book. I
Yeah.
mean, that's all the 12-step programs are based on all the principles that she covers here. So
Yeah.
I never read the book, but I read it. I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
Uh-huh.
yeah. Like
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
literally, she's like a lot of stuff she's taken from the. I don't know if she's taken from the literature, but she was an addict. She is a self-professed. She was into what was the quote? She was into bad boys and good drugs, which I
Yeah.
loved. Yeah, and she went down a spiral,
Yeah.
and she was in that darkness, her own version of hell. And what she said was that sometimes is necessary because a certain amount of desperation is necessary before we're ready for God, which is this ultimate love. So it's almost like you need to be in hell
Yeah.
to be able to.
I get angry at people when they're in their own hell sometimes.
Oh, what do you mean? Can you give
I
an
get
example?
irritated. Like, if you see somebody in this place where they can't see outside,
Yeah.
it's like I can feel their energy, and it
Yeah.
like makes me angry. It's like, okay.
Well,
Or if I'm in
see,
my own hell, I get angry.
yeah, C.S. Lewis said the gates of hell are locked from the inside.
Oh, wow. God, I love C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, he's my favorite. He
Oh, he's
is my
one of my
favorite because
favorites.
he he went to write a book to prove that God does not exist. And in trying to prove that God does not exist, he proved to himself that God does in fact exist, which I love.
Do you believe in God?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is he
Yeah.
like a dirty, long-haired, hippie-looking guy, or
Also, he's everything. No,
yeah.
I believe I use he just to use he. Please don't attach yourself to any semantics that I might use in this podcast
He is
because,
like a correct English when you're speaking of a person. It
yeah,
doesn't, so I'll validate
yeah.
that.
What I'm just going to use he for simplicity's sake.
It makes it
But
seem like kind of like a embryo, but not a fetus. I haven't decided to keep him yet.
I definitely believe in a higher power. Most certainly, absolutely, because I've seen miracles happen. This book is about miracles. I mean, she took a course in miracles. She had miracles happen herself. Miracles, she said, is a change in perception. My perception completely changed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've experienced miracles in my life. So I absolutely believe in a higher power. And for people who don't, because I work with addicts, and basically one of the like premise of getting sober in the way I got sober is belief in a higher power.
Yeah.
And I have girls that are hesitant to believe in a higher power. So I always ask them this question. Do you think you are the strongest, most powerful force in the universe? And they say, no. And I said, okay, so there's a power greater than you. Yes. Okay. Like that's a good start, So
Yeah.
that's where we go. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I like people get mad. Christians just want to fuck. They want to kill me when I say this. I actually believe I am God, and I believe you are God. It like we are. It's inside of us. Like we
Yeah.
are the source of like it's inside of us.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So that question just kind of like lends it like, yes, I do, but no, I don't. I think we all are like, we're all like, so that's interesting. It says,
Yeah.
what happened to my generation is that we never grew up. The problem isn't that we're lost or apathetic, narcissistic, or materialistic. The problem is we're terrified. And that's hell.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that a lot of these problems that we are having on earth is that we're scared of some sort of scarcity.
Yeah. We're afraid we're going to lose something we have. We're afraid we're not going to get something we want. We're afraid of what other people think of us. It all comes down to fear.
Yeah. There's not infinite something for you. And it is. We have it. Like we have everything we need, you know, and we could provide everything to each other if I mean, I know, kumbaya, kumbaya, kumbaya. But it's like, what if we could do that? What if, like, why can't we feed the sick and the hungry and, the tired, the weaklings? Why can't we? You know?
Well, we can. I mean, it has to start with, I think, each individual wanting
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah.
Just
But collectively, I think it's difficult.
Well, I think that's the problem is we're looking at it as we all have to do it together if we just do it every day and, show up every day as God.
Yeah.
My grandma used to call it walking in the steps of Jesus.
Oh.
And she'd be like, you don't have to go to church to walk in the steps of Jesus. And like, if everybody would just act like Jesus, and let me tell you, Jesus did not go to church.
Yeah.
He was out with the degenerates and the losers and the fucking sluts.
And the cunts.
And the people who have, like, honestly, like these Christians, they don't believe in their own God.
I can't, there's something that I want to, like, that I have to, I don't like grouping Christians into bad
I know.
because I don't like, there's a quote from one of my favorite books is we didn't see the beauty of the forest because of the ugliness of some of its trees.
Yeah.
And I do believe that there's a lot of ugly Christians out there, but I know like a lot of my friends are very good Christians.
Yeah. And I have this one, and I know I'm wrong to do it. I know I'm trying to be better about it. But when I see the Christian, some of the Christian population, and I got to tell you, like my sister's not one of them. She's a Christian, like she's fighting against it, but like they don't believe. Do you think that the God is powerful enough to save a baby in a womb if it's supposed to be born? Do you believe that? And if you don't think your God is powerful enough, maybe you should find a new one.
I don't know. I'm kind of like you believe what you want to believe. I'll believe what I want to believe. I'm just not. I can't jump on the I hate Christians or bandwagon. I just can't.
Well, I didn't say I hate
Yeah.
Christians. I said that if you believe you have this all-powerful God,
Yeah.
do you believe that they have the right to, or that he can save a child in a womb? Or did he put that child there to teach someone a lesson and help them? I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's all powerful or he's not all powerful.
I have my personal beliefs on that. So
What are they?
I don't believe God's a puppeteer.
Okay.
Me. I believe it's almost
I don't
like
either.
electricity. I believe it's almost like electricity you can plug in whenever you want.
Yeah.
It's always there. It's the undercurrent, and you can plug in whenever you want.
I agree.
And you could utilize that power whenever you want, just like electricity. Electricity doesn't go out and cause things to happen or not, but you can utilize it for good. You could utilize it for, it's almost, and that's how I think. I think God is pure love.
Me too.
And you could plug into it. And when you cultivate it, great things happen. So that is my belief. I don't believe God doesn't put like I don't think he's a puppet master or a chess master arranging pieces.
But according to the Bible, he is.
And that's okay for them to believe that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying like it seems weird with this new Roe v. Wade. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, do you believe that your God could save that baby? And if you do, maybe you should just show up at the abortion clinic with a blanket and a ride home for this child of God, and take her home and show compassion and show love, and don't worry about, I think God's got it. Like, don't, like, let's give her, like, make sure that she has safe health care because she's a child of God, and then worry about the rest of it later. Like,
Yeah.
just don't have abortions if you don't want to, if you don't believe in them.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the most current events that are like, okay, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to be here and to not, like, get frustrated with Christians.
Yeah.
Is it the same way in Poland?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the majority of the population is Christian though, which is interesting because there's like we don't know, a lot of them are like we don't know what God's will is. A lot of the Christians here embrace pure love as being God's will,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And they do have their beliefs about abortion and things like that, but a lot of the politicians will try to bring that in. I don't think it should be connected to politics at
Me
all.
either. Me either.
That it should be separate, And
Yeah.
I also, this is what bothers me about a lot of people in general trying to enforce their beliefs and ideas on others,
Yeah. I agree.
right? And I think it's the left and the right.
Oh, I do too.
So
I said to Jason this morning, I go, okay, here's where we get to experience all the people who said, you can't put a vaccine in my body without my consent, forcing
Yeah.
people to have babies.
yeah.
Or, especially like, yeah, I mean, and then they'll say, well, they chose to have sex. No, some of them didn't. Some of them were
Yeah.
raped.
Yeah.
And like it's just, it's constant hypocrisy on both sides.
Yeah, I just don't know why it's getting involved in politics. Like that's to me is a little crazy.
I don't
It's just
I don't
it's really a little crazy.
The social issues are just insane in politics, and both sides are just so guilty. I wouldn't call myself a Republican or a Democrat under threat of death right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I don't either.
It's so gross. It's just,
Yeah.
it's so, like, disgusting. And of course, I wouldn't call myself a Christian either, under threat of death. Like, I just wouldn't. I think to label yourself like that is to close your mind. I'll call myself a cunt. So the second one is God, and God is love. We've already been through that. Man, it's this book, every time she said something, I'm just like, yes, that's exactly how I feel about it. And of course,
Yeah.
I can't word it. Like this, like she's really good at wording it. Like, hats off to you, Marianne.
Yeah, I love how she talks about her journey to find God because and I'm going to quote her directly because she says it perfectly, that a certain amount of desperation is usually necessary before we're ready for God. When it came to spiritual surrender, I didn't get serious, not really, until I was down on my knees completely. The mess got so thick that all the king's horsemen, all the king's men couldn't make Marianne function again.
Oh, so good. I got the chills on that one.
Yeah. So I think, it's true because that's what happened to me. I only became open to spiritual principles when I was like I could not get out of my addiction myself. Like all the power that all my trying was not helping.
Yeah.
I was trying real hard, and I had to open myself up to a higher power because I couldn't do it. I was powerless, so I had to open myself up to some type of power.
You had to
And
plug
once
in.
I had to plug in, yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
And that's what she talks about too. That she says that this is amazing. Nervous breakdowns can be highly underrated methods of spiritual transformation.
Couldn't
They
agree
certainly
more.
get your attention. Yeah. So
Couldn't agree more. I remember
yeah.
when I was so desperate in a toxic relationship that I just like we were fighting all the time, just every five
Yeah.
seconds. It was like we just were clashing. And
Yeah.
I just remember like I just went into the bathroom and got down on my knees and said, "Give me a window. Just give me a window. Anything. I'll take it." Like it was like out of that came, I mean, and the phone rang and I was offered a job far, far away. And it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
glorious. And just remember thinking, okay, was that I don't know. That was, had to be a weird coinky dink.
I don't believe in
It
my
wasn't.
other favorite quote, coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous.
I love that.
So that's another favorite quote that I have. But she says something great. She says, faith is believing that the universe is on our side. And that's what you did. You fell to your knees, you asked for help, and the phone rang.
Yes. And
That's
she says,
amazing.
I know. Oh gosh, it's like things like that always happen to me. That's why I don't like push it
Yeah.
with the higher power because I'm like, okay, like I've prayed like 3 or 4 times and it's instant. It really is. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
God's like, oh shit, she's praying,
Okay,
quick,
hang on,
get
hang
it
on.
together.
All right, attention, everyone. So it says, God is the love within us. Whether we follow him or think with love is entirely up to us. When we choose to love or allow our minds to be one with God, then life is peaceful. We, when we turn away from love, the pain sets in. Oh, God, it's so good. It's like whenever I go towards being loving or being kind or being generous or being whatever all those good things are that people do, I always am in heaven. I'm in heaven on earth when
Yeah.
I'm doing something that I love,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
love that.
But
Yeah.
man, when I'm not, I'm in hell. When I'm
Yeah.
looking at what other people are doing, how dare they, why they're getting away with that. I mean,
Yeah. Self-righteous anger.
self-righteous anger. Yeah.
Well, should we take a banter break and then talk about part two, which is how we practice our spiritual practice?
Sounds wonderful. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Thank you all for listening to the We Need Help podcast. We actually need your help. You can become a member of the We Need Help movement. Can you tell us how?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's this really cool service called Patreon where you can support artists, people doing different projects, people like us. You basically go to the www.patreon, that's patreon.com/ We Need Help podcast. And you can subscribe a monthly donation every month.
Stipend?
Stipend, yeah, for just $1 a day.
Just a
You would be
dollar a
helping us out
day.
greatly. And if you become a Patreon, you get access to exclusive content. You get a say in what we do because every month we're going to be picking somebody and they get to pick a book that we're going to review. So you actually have a bit of a say in the art that we produce, which is really cool.
And you get to go to heaven.
Yes. That's the number one thing. You get to go to heaven. So
if you don't do it, you're going to hell. But if you do it, you get eternal life.
how awesome is that? For just $1 a day, eternal life.
I mean, eternal life for $1 a day.
So again, we would really appreciate your support. It costs money to do this, by the way.
It costs money.
It
and
does.
time
Yeah,
and
we
money
were
and more
shocked.
money.
We're like, what?
But
So,
I do want to say thank you guys for listening, and we would appreciate any support you could give us.
yeah, we just want to get better and we want to grow and we want you to grow with us. So that's awesome.
We have big plans.
We got some big plans. So please become a part. Log on to www.patreon.com/we need help podcast, written together. And Patreon is spelled patreon.com/we need help podcast. And then you just click on become a Patreon. You can do PayPal, you can do credit card, you can put it on whatever. We don't care how.
We don't
Just
care how
do
you
it.
give us money.
Just do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you so
Thank
much.
you. We love you.
Welcome back, everybody. I don't know. I like that one. It was a little happier than my scary one.
A little pitchy, but
Did you say bitchy or pitchy?
with a P. That wasn't very loving, now was it?
That went away from love.
Yeah.
Let's return to love and tell me how good I am.
Yeah, Return to Love. So you show everybody the book. Everyone who can see on YouTube. Yeah, it is so.
It's so beat up.
Yeah.
I found my color, my Restoration Hardware color that I was painting my walls when I lived in Chicago. So that's like at least 12 years ago.
Yeah. Where did you get this book and like how has it changed your life? That's what I want to know.
Well, it validated that I wasn't a complete and total degenerate, you know, Satan type, because it's like, you know, there is no place for people who don't completely agree with the Bible in religions here. I've been kicked out of a Baptist church, basically, or never invited back. You know, I went to Methodist, and that's great because you don't really, it's basically small talk, like is how I grew up. It was like you showed up, you had a little, you know, kind of whitewashed sermon. I was all dressed up, felt good. I was looking forward to, we'd always go out to eat afterward. And that was like, it just, there was no inspiration there.
You know, you're absolutely right. There's no real church for people, like for addicts there is, right? We have we have 12 step fellowships. That's our church. We have our meetings. We talk about spirituality. Normies, or civilians, people who don't need 12 step fellowship, don't have a place like that.
So usually, like for me, I found a lot of connection in bars or in restaurants or, you know, my friendships became my church, but I couldn't, if you're going to be there, you can't, if you go to a bar and you try to come in there and like tell people they're in hell or they're out of hell, or, I mean, duh. But like I've never ever, for me, it validated how I actually feel, which is love is God. Anything else that doesn't support that verb isn't. I truly believe there's hell and heaven on earth. There is, you know, I've never really believed that you go to a burning place down under if you have sex before you're married or something like that. So this book was such a connection for how I truly felt egolessly. Like when I can set aside my ego, like I'm like, it really does make sense. And I mean, it bridges the gap between all the Christians and all the not Christians, spiritual not Christians. It can kind of put you in the same place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's interesting. I love that. So, all of this in theory is great.
Yeah.
Then part 2, she talks about how you can start implementing these because principles are great.
Yeah.
We love principles. The principle of love, pure love, how do you practice that?
Right.
So that's what's interesting for me. So do you have like how do you practice being better? Like how do you actually practice that?
Okay, I'm going to read this first part in the chapter 6 relationships. When you meet anyone, remember it is a holy encounter. As you see him, you will see yourself. As you treat him, you will treat yourself. As you think of him, you will think of yourself. Never forget this. For in him you will find yourself or lose yourself.
I love that.
And we've talked about so much in energy drainers. Those are the people you lose yourself. Energy givers those are your church.
Yeah.
Is it not? Like
Yeah,
when
I mean,
after I get away from you, I feel good. Like I'm walking out of church. Like I should
yeah.
feel when I'm walking out of church.
Yeah.
Like you can have it a chance to make you better.
Yeah. I think this is so interesting because I started reading Course of Miracles and this was the only line. I mean, I read it, but this is the only line that what you just read is the only line I remember out of Course of Miracles is that everyone you see is you.
Yes.
So I really love that. As you see him, you will see yourself because my mentor always says ego is separation. I think I'm better or worse than somebody.
Oh my gosh, inferior or superior?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that.
And we're all the same. We're all like quote unquote children of God, right? Like we're all here. We're all serving a purpose, some type of purpose.
I'm not sure at the end of the day, and I'm like, I I haven't worked this out in myself yet, but I'm wondering if we're all connected in as like the same exact energy, like the same exact. We're actually one, but we're just like kind of like when you throw mercury on the ground and it pebbles out,
Yeah.
and we kind of like if we can just
Like the
constantly.
Terminator.
Yes, all roads lead to the Terminator for us.
Yeah, I get
Exactly.
it. So do you have any type of spiritual practices like that you do on a regular basis to like help you become a better person?
Like yoga or meditation or something like that,
No, like okay, so I'll give you an example.
please.
I'm judgmental. It's just the way I am. It's like my go-to is judgment, right? So, I was super judgmental about my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, when she was alive because she was, she was a drama queen. So she
Hey,
would call and I would
that
think,
means she was a queen, not a silver lining.
yeah, silver lining. So anytime I had a negative thought about her, I took out a piece of paper and wrote 3 things I liked about her. That was my spiritual practice of turning the mean thought into a loving thought. So anytime I had a judgmental thought about her, I would take out a piece of paper and I would write, she has a great smile. She's a wonderful cook. She really knows how to tell a joke.
I'm just picturing you like putting like the Old Testament of papers on
Yeah, it was. But I have to, so for me, and I think she talks about it in the second half, the practice has to be action, an actual practice. So that's what it was for me. I try to do the opposite of whatever my defect is. So when I want to hate, I instead think, what is the opposite of my defective character? And I do the opposite even though I don't want to.
I like that. And you've actually helped me with that on several occasions and it works. Like if you're
Yeah.
like, but I struggle with being judgmental because I am judgmental and everybody's judgmental. That's how we've survived this long, but Harry Friedman was a sales trainer 100 years ago when I was in sales. And he would always say, you're going to judge, you're going to prejudge, you're going to judge. I prejudge, you're going to judge. but you should play a game with yourself to see if you were right. Like, and I love
funny.
that. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes, like if let's just say I don't agree with something,
Yeah.
and sometimes I just play a game with myself to like let it go on and see if it was right, like without saying,
Yeah.
see if I was right without saying anything,
Yeah.
and treating them as if I don't have that judgment, just as a game,
Yeah.
because like by the time you get now in your age, like my age, and you've been through 70 different chapters of life, like you're usually kind of right a lot of the times about what people are doing.
Yeah. But sometimes it doesn't matter.
No,
Like,
it doesn't.
yeah. Yeah. If I'm right. Like I remember I got the first time I caught a resentment to Maciek when we first started dating. He flew to Dubai for like a work thing and he didn't call me at all. And we had been talking every day. And I was like, how could he not call me? We're talking every day. We've started dating. Like, what the fuck? I was like super upset. And I remember calling my mentor and I was telling her, like, explaining to her why he was wrong and why this was wrong for him to do. And she goes, you're right. But can you let go of being right, even if you're right, for the sake of grace? And I was like, oh man, that is the hardest thing to do, to let go of being right when you're right.
Well, Harry Friedman, to the icons, I guess it's Harry Friedman's show
I
now.
love you, Harry.
He always used to say, I'd rather be rich than right. So
Yeah.
right doesn't
Oh.
even matter. As long as you get what you want, being right I honestly, being right is overrated. I think we've made a complete show out of this, and we're going to continue to make a empire out of being wrong.
Yeah.
But like, it's kind of overrated to be right.
Well, she said in this book, Return to Love, you can be right or you can be free. And she calls people like us who like want to put their love out miracle workers, right? These miracle workers, like we help people change their perception, like let's work these miracles. The goal in every circumstance is peace of mind. So if I'm fighting to be right, where's my peace of mind? It's not there because I'm fighting to be right, you know?
Yeah, and you can see that war that goes on within people that have to be right.
Yeah.
It's like, and like, I'm telling you, it's way overrated. I wish so many times I would have gone towards being wrong and just done something different, rather than stand and dig my heels in with my rightness.
It's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
because I think, again, it all goes back to the fear. We're afraid we're going to lose something. So, and I not only want to be right, I want to show you how wrong you are.
I love that about you.
So, what I loved in this part two is make the choice to love rather than be right, rather
Yes.
than make that conscious choice to love, which is really hard to do.
When some
Sometimes.
motherfucker's wrong right in front of you. And you're like,
It's hard. It's hard to do.
I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be in a street dance like, wow, 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 I choose love. I love dance offs. Did you?
Yeah.
You probably didn't know that about me. I'm for
discovering new
dance-offs.
things
I don't
about
think
you
there's
every
enough.
day.
I'm up in Jason's face. I choose love.
Well, it's easy to love somebody who's lovable. It's really hard to love the motherfuckers.
The motherfuckers are hard to love, y'all.
They are hard. Motherfuckers are hard to love. We're gonna get a T-shirt made. Motherfuckers are hard to love.
They're fucking hard to love.
It's easy to love somebody who's super lovable, but
an MFer?
The assholes. Oh, geez, But that's where we can choose. Okay, I'm gonna choose to respond in a loving way, even though I don't feel it, and you don't deserve it, motherfucker.
Because you're wrong. You're wrong.
And I'm right.
And I'm right.
So anyway, yeah, I love this whole second half. Anything stand out for you in this second half that you want to like?
I mean, I'm telling, like, if you choose to read this book, first of all, there's like a 50-page chapter on relationships, how not to idolize people, which is a big one. You always say, someone can't be your higher power.
Yeah, my higher power is the look on your face.
Did you write that?
I think somebody did. Probably not me, but I'm plagiarizing it.
That's yours now. That's
mine now.
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I always knew where I stood when I was a kid when I looked at my mother's face.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if somebody looks at me crooked, it could ruin my whole day.
It could, oh God, yeah, it could destroy me.
Yeah.
It could destroy me and does.
I love what she says about careers here too. That we have to in our careers stop being takers and start being givers.
I love that so
Make the
much.
switch, So that was cool.
And do what you love is a huge deal because the work says I'm only here to be helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not, and love sent you,
Yeah.
I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. And like, AKA walking in love, walking with your higher power. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. Like going into something, this is my whole life. This is what I try to do in my life at all times, 100% of the day, is I try to make things a cunt hair better. Like that is like if I go into a situation, whether I'm at a party, whether I'm at I don't care. If I'm at TJ Maxx, I want to leave there either making someone's day brighter. Sometimes, you know me, I'll merchandise an area if it's not right. Just leaving the world a little bit better in every single section of it. And like, that's the way I make life work for me. That's my happiness, is just leaving it just a slight bit better.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for. Is according to this book and according to what I think and believe is as well, is like we have to stop being these takers and start being these givers and just give what we can to make the world a little bit better. What are we putting into the stream of life?
Do you judge takers?
I used to. I have evolved in judging taker because
I did too.
Yeah.
1 minute ago.
No, here's what is the blessing about being an addict. I have to keep my resentments in check, otherwise I'll drink or use again. So I have a daily resentment checker.
Yes.
So I work on this daily, and I really believe God loves drunks and addicts because we're forced to be spiritual or die.
Yeah.
That's it. We either have a spiritual way of life or we die from addiction. In my case, I know other people have recovered maybe in their own ways, but my recovery has been spiritual. I believe I have a spiritual disease with physical and mental symptoms.
Okay.
So the disease is spiritual, the cure is spiritual. So I have to work on it. So I can say I used to have resentments against the takers, but now I see it as an opportunity for just me to give and not expect things in return, which is hard. It's hard.
It is. It is hard. Like you give, and like I'm not like okay if I and I don't have a transactional mind. When you grow up with like in a family with 7 kids, you can't. It's just not a thing. So
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll get to a point where I'll be like, this motherfucker won't stop taking.
And that's where I think we have to say, at some part, it's like, okay, I can give what I can give. But and at some point, we draw a boundary.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn really. Jason and I were just talking about this last night, is like truly putting ourselves and our family, like the 3 of us, first.
Yeah.
is really hard for both of us. Like we, because we're both like extreme givers, but we're really trying to like focus on that, as just a true focus. Is it good for Scarlett, Jason, and I first?
That's really hard to do. Maciek said something to me. He goes, "You're for the whole world. Where am I?"
Yes.
Because
He said, "Where am I?"
Yeah, and I had to pause and think, okay, he's right. He can't be last if he's my partner. So, that's it. It's really good what you said, like to look at that. Am I taking care of my family?
Oh, that is so funny. Like, I wonder if Jason's ever felt like that with me.
I'm sure. But then on the other hand,
you're like, and
how
you
blessed are they? How blessed are they?
I know. not to go off script here, but like, duh. I believe I'm a miracle worker, Jason.
Yeah.
You better recognize we're miracle workers.
Yeah, we are. I love what she says about miracle workers. The artist of the soul. There is no higher art than living a good life. An artist informs the world of what's available behind the masks we all wear. That's what we're here to do.
That is what we do.
That's what we're here to do.
And I'm telling you, if I had any, like, there's nobody out there that clownfishes in life like we do. We are basking in this motherfucker in spite of it all.
Yeah, I agree. I
love life so much.
I do too. And I think here's the I think where people get scared of God's will for me, because they think God wants them to be nuns and live a small life.
Yeah.
God wants us to be pious and small. And what I love about this book, she said, no, God does not want you to have a small life. God wants you to be bursting hugely with love and energy.
Huge. God wants you to be huge.
Yeah, she said, God does not demand sacrifice. The life of sacrifice is the life we live before we find a higher sense of identity and purpose. So, it's amazing. We have to grow into our highest selves, and that's big. That's not small.
Big. No.
Yeah.
Every time, but like, I see people do it. They humble themselves, like, not in a good way. They like try to say that they're small, that they're not fierce, that they're, this little person. I feel like that's kind of like, you kind of warn people that you're not in shape before you get naked in front of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you'll be like,
yeah.
You know what? I haven't been working out much, but like, this is like right before you could take off your clothes. And it's really not good. Yeah. It's not good to say like a bunch of stuff like that.
She mentions that. She said that we ask ourselves, oh, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. Amen. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
So when I say this book says what I mean, it is so true. Showing up, being seen allows people to show up and be seen. Yeah. They're not, and I think that one thing that I love, we're just going to sit here and give each other compliments, is that like we show up, and it, like, I hope if one thing, I mean, I'm happy that I just get to show up with you and be myself and in love. And now people are going to think we're lesbians. We're not. I would totally.
If I was to be a lesbian, it would most likely be with you.
Yeah, samesies. But like just to be able to show up and be seen around people.
Yeah.
You know, that is a huge gift, and it allows other people to have the same.
And this podcast was we were afraid.
Oh,
We were
God.
afraid to shine. We were afraid to be big because what are people going to think? But then we just kind of pushed the fuck it button.
It didn't say that in this book, but I think it was
That's what she meant.
alluded
That's
to.
what she meant.
What is your heaven? What's your heaven on earth?
God, that is a good question. I honestly
I'm bracing myself. I'm loving this.
brace yourself. No, I remember feeling a part of that when I went to go talk to a big group of drunks and I had to share my story, and for some reason it was like a comedy stand-up routine, and I was making 500 people laugh, and there was 500 addicts who were laughing with joy because of something I was saying. And I left the stage and there was just this joy in the room, and I looked at the guy next to me who had invited me to speak, and I said, "This is better than heroin." And he looked at me and he goes, "Okay." Like he was just confused. But that to me was like, I was my best self, and
Yeah.
I was bringing others joy. And
Yeah.
it was a tiny piece of heaven. And I said, I want more of that.
That was
want
connection.
I want more of that, because it was like, I'm using my gifts. I'm using my gifts to help people. I'm using my gifts to bring joy to people who are normally not supposed to be joyful because they're sober. And that was my piece of heaven.
I love that. You just connected. Like what I'm hearing is the connection. You
Yeah.
connected with all of those people in and sounds so powerful.
It was,
You were
I think-
powerful.
yeah,
That's
it was,
like
it was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
What about you? What's heaven for you?
In a creative sense, like when I wrote for Island Lizzie was a huge heaven, because when I was writing, I was observing throughout the entire day on a very, very interesting level. Like when you're reporting about things,
Yeah.
you're actually tasting things more. And I loved writing, and I loved putting my creativity out there. And I know that I love to write. This is heaven for me.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
to do it. And then my heaven is basked in beautiful white crisp sheets with my family, and just cuddled up and eating something from a bowl.
Oh,
And just like sitting there, maybe something I made, and just like the smells of those crisp white sheets and the beautiful food, whatever it is, and my little girl's head, and like that is like that's heaven. And then my number one heaven, well, I don't know, that one's hard to beat.
foie gras.
Well, what did you say to me? No, I'm just kidding. Is laughing till I cry with a friend.
Yeah.
That kind of laughter where you keep looking at each other and you cannot stop. It's something that's happened, like maybe you were slapped in the face by a jacket that somebody was putting on behind you, and it like witness, and you just it's just like you look, and every time you look at each other, it reignites the fire within, and you just start laughing. It's like a jolting laugh.
The joy.
Yeah. I love to laugh until I cry.
Yeah, me too. All right. What are you carrying forward? What are you taking from this book? I mean, there's so much, but like this time around, what are you taking from it?
I'll say this. I'm putting it back on my bedstand, because a lot of times when I used to keep it on my bedstand. This fucking book is a wreck, you guys. It's one of those things where you flip it open and you say, you just read anything, and it is almost like a message from your higher power. And I'm going to put it back on my bedstand. I'm going to I'm going to like remember it. And it just, every time If you feel like shit, you're running from love.
Love that.
What are you taking, Mama?
Choosing love, actively choosing love, choosing to be loving rather than and being just more aware of that and actively choosing a loving response, because I don't always do it. You know, it's not always perfect. So just to be more aware and I'm going to choose to respond in a loving way. I'm going to choose to be loving today rather than annoyed or whatever. So, yeah.
Well, it's hard to love a motherfucker. We know that. Well, I love you.
I love you too. What are we doing next? What book are we doing next?
We're doing the one that you picked out. It's
1 million followers by Brendan Kane. Brendan Kane. How he built a massive social following in 30 days. We're going to try it. We're going to see if we can get 1 million followers.
Okay, let's try it.
If we can't, then we'll have a lot to say.
Yeah. We're going to do everything that he says to do.
Yeah. So this is going to be a good one. Because we're actually going to read and follow.
Yeah,
which might be a first for us.
No, it will be. No, we do it. I'm telling you, I just did my 5th cryotherapy.
That's amazing. I cannot wait to see the video from that.
Oh my God, it's so funny. I'm going to post it this week.
Okay. Can't wait to see it.
All right. Well, I love you, and I'll see you next Tuesday.
Too. See you next Tuesday.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Rate and follow us if you like us. If you don't, please don't.
And come visit us at www.theweneedhelppodcast.com. There you can find show notes, links for books. You can join Audible, which is, how we actually read our books. We listen to them. And we have special exclusive content just for you. Also, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon account. That's where you can support us financially because we need it. And it can be anywhere from $1 to $100 billion a month, whatever you can afford. And the link to our Patreon account is www.patreon, and that's spelled patreon.com/We Need Help Podcast. And you can support us on there. We would really appreciate it because we do need help.
Awesome. And we will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Thanks,
Bye.
loves. Bye.